Society has lied to you about women, about what they want, what turns them on, what makes them desire you. You've been confused and misled your entire life because society has an agenda to make women look like pure, innocent creatures that goes back as far as religion. Women are the fairer sex. They are innocent creatures. They are sugar, spice, and everything nice. That's what we're told. And it's not true at all. In fact, most of what men are taught about women is completely untrue. So much so that it prevents you from being able to attract them, from being able to connect with them, from being able to be truly intimate with them. Because what we do is we interact with this image of women that we're given, this pedestalization, this kind of angelic image that we're told is who they really are, and that does not match the reality. And so we're not really interacting with who they are, we're interacting with this wall, kind of like that Pink Floyd album, The Wall. We're interacting with the wall, not who they really are. And that's why in this video, I'm going to tell you 4 secrets that women don't want you to know, that society doesn't want you to know about women, about sex, about what they want, so that you can start to break through that wall and genuinely connect with them on a deep level. So let's dive into the first one. Women enjoy sex more than men. Now, okay, if you're terrible in bed and you don't know what you're doing and you haven't done some experimentation and put in some effort, then this isn't always true. But if you're halfway decent in bed, you know what you're doing, then women are going to get much more out of sex than you are, especially in terms of pleasure. They can have multiple climaxes in a period of several minutes, and a guy cannot. It's not possible. It's physically, there's a physical limitation. There's trainings out there, like Buddhist trainings for, having multiple climaxes, but it takes months of practice to be able to possibly do that. And a woman is born being able to have that experience. Plus, their climaxes are more intense, they last longer, they have so much more potential for pleasure in a sexual context. And this is very important because what are we taught? We are taught that in terms of sex, women are kind of giving it to us as a gift. It's this opportunity. They are allowing us to have the chance to be with them. But in reality, if anything, it's the opposite. If anything, she has more to gain from it than you do. And it's important to have this awareness because sexually, we tend to think that we have nothing to offer, that we are trying to take something from women. But that really doesn't have to be the case. Now, look, to be clear, you do have to learn how to be good in bed. I have a complete video in my course, God Mode, that teaches you how to do that. It has 4 specific techniques for being very good in bed that I learned over years of experimentation because if I'm being completely honest, when I was young, I was not always good in bed. And one girl that I really, really liked, I was hooking up with her and she said, "Is this amateur hour?" She actually said that to me. She asked if it was amateur hour. And that was so frustrating to me that I started reading books. I started really trying to figure out what I could do to be good in bed because I wanted women to want to come back to me. And then now I often have girls say that it was the best sexual experience they ever had, or, the number of climaxes they had is very high. I get that all the time now, and you might think they're lying. Hey, you can think what you want to think. But what I can say is that anytime I hook up with a woman, they almost always want to see me again, whereas before that wasn't the case. And part of that is the experience and the technique, the stuff that I can teach you in my course. But the other part of that is the mindset. I don't see sex as something I'm taking. I see it as something that I'm offering. I have something to give. I have value in terms of sex. I can give her pleasure and enjoyment. It's not like I'm this troll, this creepy troll under a bridge. It's like, hey, you want to get some of this? That's the internal dialogue of a lot of men. They think like they're that troll. And that is why women are repulsed. They see that taking energy and they're like, well, if he doesn't like what he's selling, if he doesn't believe in his own product, why would I be interested in it? That's their perspective. So it's very important to be aware that women have more to gain from sex than you do, so long as you're good at it. So long as you work on your skills in bed. And even if you're not very good now, as long as you're willing to put in some effort and to really focus on giving her pleasure and being generous and not being just like, trying to finish as quick as possible, you can still have pretty good experiences for the women where they're getting more out of it than you are if you genuinely try hard enough and you don't overthink it. So that is something that you really need to be aware of, and it completely changes the dynamic because generally we think women have all the power in terms of sexual relationships, in terms of especially when it comes to first having sex. They're the gatekeepers, right? But when you realize that you can actually give them more than they can give you, there's no reason to fall into that false narrative. All right, let's look at the second one. Women do not have high standards. Let me repeat that. Women do not have high standards. Now, if you look at the red pill, you look at black pill, you look over the internet, what does everyone say? Look at Reddit. Women get infinite matches. Look at Tinder. They have infinite matches. They have so many options that their narcissism, their self-belief is just out of this world. They're getting hit up all the time. They're getting hit up in the DMs all the time. This is true. They are getting hit up a lot. First of all, mostly by losers, mostly by guys who are creepy and weird, because guys who are genuinely cool, guys who have a lot going on in their lives, and they have options with women, they don't resort to that. They don't resort to needing to, try really hard to DM every girl on Instagram. The guys who are doing that tend to be desperate guys. However, there's another side to it, and that is women have plenty of options when it comes to some random guy wanting to have sex with them. True. But that does not have value in a woman's eyes because it's so abundant. That is not special. It's like, look, if you live in a lake with clean water, you're not really going to care if someone comes up to you and offers you a cup of water. You're like, I have plenty of water. That has no value to me whatsoever. And that's how women feel about these online internet encounters. These infinite options they have online, the 6'4" chats. It's not special or exciting. And those guys tend to have terrible game, no personality, and they get bored of it. Maybe they hook up with a handful of guys through Tinder, through Instagram hookups, but most women get very bored of it because the guys, all they have to offer is they're good looking, and after a certain point, that gets boring. A bunch of lame guys who are 6'3" and have abs, it gets boring. What women therefore want is something that is less common, something that is harder to find. And that's why if you meet girls in real life, you stand out immediately. You would think, oh, well, you're not a 6'3" Chad like the guy I met on Tinder. No, that's not how they're thinking, because if you go approach a girl and you're sober and you make a good impression, that is rare. It is rare for a guy to genuinely put himself out there, to put his ego on the line and to tell a girl that he's interested in her, to make his intentions clear, and to ask her on a date. That does not happen often. Some of the girls I've approached, they would say, thank you, I wish this happened more often. I get that all the time. I wish this happened more often. I wish there were more guys like you. And I asked them, when's the last time a guy approached you like this? And sometimes she'll say yesterday, but I'll ask, well, were you drunk at a party? And she'll say yes. Well, when's the last time, in real life where that happened? And they'll say, oh, it's been months. It's been months since a normal guy approached me while sober. I've only ever been approached by really drunk guys at parties. That's all they get. So it's not that hard to stand out by just being a little bit interesting, by having a personality, and by being genuinely vulnerable. If you're really drunk talking to girls at a club, well, you're not going to stand out because there's a lot of other really drunk guys with their sloppy approaches that women are getting tired of. So that's a big part of the reason why if you go out and you just have a little bit of game and you approach a lot of girls, and it could be in a nightclub, but you're doing it in the way that I teach, where it's genuine and you're not being fake and you're not hiding your intentions, you do that, you have value because that is rare. that is rare for her to encounter. She encounters nice guys who pretend that they are basically androgynous and have no interest in the woman at all. That's boring. They have men that are just totally pervy and like, hey, like, want to get out of here? And, drunk, sloppy guys. That's not intriguing. But what they rarely get is a genuinely interesting and relatively normal conversation with a guy who's willing to say, hey, I thought you looked interesting. I thought you were cute. Make some comment about her, compliment her, but then have a real conversation that isn't totally surface level, but also isn't completely pervy. If you can do that, then you stand out from all the other guys. And then it's very easy. I know a guy in Vegas who's about 5'6", so he's shorter than average. He really does not have a pretty face. I hope he doesn't watch my videos, but he's not good looking. And I see him pull hot girls almost every night. He pulls all the time. Why? Because women rarely get approached in person at all, and when they do, it's usually poorly. So this idea that there's like 6'4" ultra chads constantly approaching, well, first of all, you're thinking that 1% of the population has time to sleep with all the women. Most of those guys that are in the top 1% or whatever, most of them are in monogamous relationships because some girl convinced them to commit to them. And the ones that aren't in relationships, they're not having sex with 100 women a night. You go to a club, there might be 10 model good-looking guys in the entire club. Look, they're only going to go home with one girl each, if that. They're not going to take all the girls. It's just not possible. It's not realistic. So this idea that, 1% of the girls take, or 1% of the guys take all the women is really not true, because if you're in an environment with a lot of women, one guy isn't going to pull 5 girls. So you just have to be able to stand out a little bit with your personality. It doesn't hurt to be good looking. It's an advantage. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those like dumbasses. Oh, looks don't matter at all. Of course they're a factor. But the illusion that you're competing against a bunch of 6'3" chads is totally false. And furthermore, the other thing you need to be aware of is that when a girl is talking to you, she is only talking to you. You are the only person that exists. So these other super good-looking guys that you're thinking about that meet her unrealistic standards, they don't exist. Only you exist. When you're talking to her, when you're looking in someone's eyes, no one else exists. Everything else disappears. And all that happens is either she's attracted to you or she's not. But she's not comparing you to all these other imaginary guys. It's just, what do I feel when I'm looking at him, when I'm talking to him? What do I feel? The other guys cease to exist. And the question is, are you compelling? Are you charismatic? Are you attractive? Are you masculine? Or are you not? It really comes down to that. It is not some super complicated thing where she's like doing a math formula. Well, he's only 5'11", so therefore he doesn't meet this standard. If she feels good around you, if she feels good energy, she's going to be attracted to you. And I'm actually recording some infield to prove this. I specifically got some infield, some hidden camera footage of me approaching women when I was in a terrible mood, when I was just in an awful mood. Every single girl reacts pretty badly. Right? A couple girls let me talk to them and are open to having a conversation, but none of them are lighting up and just like immediately attracted. Then I'm also going to show hidden camera infield of myself approaching women and it going very well because I'm in a good mood. When I'm feeling on point, when I'm in the zone, if you will, almost every single girl lights up. My looks aren't changing. My appearance is the same. What's different is my energy, my voice, my eye contact, my nonverbal communication. Every way that she's taking in who I am is different. And it is night and day. How women will respond to you when you're in a good state and when you're just self-judging and being really negative. It is night and day. And all you have to do to stand out and to be attractive to women is to be the former. Be the guy who has good charismatic energy. And I'm going to share the infield footage proving this to you in the near future to settle the game doesn't exist theory, that belief that there's no such thing as game. It's purely just she thought you were good looking or not. I'm going to show the contrast between a bad night and a good night and you will be shocked. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button so you will be able to get access to that when I release it. But those are the first two things that you really need to know about women. They do not have extremely high standards. A lot of times, a girl will hook up with you because her friend liked your friend, and she's with you, and you're better than nothing. I've been the recipient of this, and I've also had my friend be the recipient of that. I had a client not that long ago. I approached a girl and got her out on a date, and she had a friend who was really cute, so I invited my client to come over. Clearly, she didn't like him that much. She wasn't that into him. His game needed a lot of work, but she still ended up hooking up with him at the end of the night, really just because, why not? It was either that or do nothing, because the other girl really liked me, so she was either gonna hook up with him or do nothing, and she was like, well, why not? Sometimes that's all it takes. Women's decision-making when it comes to romance is not this mythical thing that we think it is. It's like, does it feel good? Does it sound like fun, right? Does it seem like it'll be enjoyable? Well, if it's better than what I'm doing now, why not? A lot of the time, that's all it is. So this idea that women need you to be a perfect 10 male model, it's something that people who have no game think. I'll put this challenge out there. Anyone who thinks, oh, well, it's really my looks holding me back and I just can't compete with these 6'3" chads. Here's what you do. Send me an audio of you approaching 10 women, and I'll put it on an unbiased subreddit about pickup. And I will have people, and I won't frame it in a negative way at all. I'll have them say, what do you think of my game? Rate it out of 10. How charismatic do you think I am? I guarantee every single guy who says, every black pill guy, how about wheat waffles or someone like that, why don't you go ahead and send the audio of yourself approaching, and let's see how good people rate your game. People who are unbiased and don't know who you are. I guarantee they're gonna say you're cringy, you're awkward, you're weird, and that's gonna be hard to take, but the positive side is you can fix that. You can work on that over time. You just have to admit you have no game. You can't say whether it's looks or not because you don't have any charisma or game at all yet. Once people are saying, wow, you're really charismatic, you're really smooth, if your game is good, you will hear that. I hear things like that from women quite frequently. So if you're on point, women are going to be saying, you're smooth, you're charismatic, you have game. Well, that one's rare, but they're going to be complimenting you on things like that all the time. There's so many guys out there who've maybe approached 50 girls in their life, if not less, and they've decided my looks are holding me back because I'm not an ultra chad. Shut up. You've done 50 approaches. Send audio infield to me to have people rate your game, and if they say it's an 8 out of 10 or higher, that you're really good, I will be shocked. I highly doubt it. I have never in my life met a single guy who has those beliefs, and I'm out and they're out in a club and I see them approach where they didn't absolutely suck. Every single one absolutely sucked, and it's important for you to be able to admit maybe you just suck and you need to work on it. But if it feels better to believe that women just have too high of standards, it's not possible, it's not because I don't have game, go ahead. That leaves more women for me, the people who watch my channel, and the people who buy my courses. So thank you very much for taking yourself out of the running in that way. But in reality, women do not have the high standards you think they do. And the more you genuinely try, and by that I mean you go out, you approach a lot of women, you invite them back home with you if it's going well, if you're doing that, you will see, wow, these girls do not have very high standards. I do not have to do anything that special to get success. And I know this because I've coached hundreds of guys in person, and I've seen many of them who are not good looking pull home with them girls who were stunning. I've seen it many times. I see it almost every single weekend. So I know this from in-person experience, but I understand that you probably don't have that experience yet. And if you really want that belief to be completely shattered, if you want to destroy the belief that women are just too hard to get, then make sure to sign up to take a boot camp with me in person so that I can show you in the real world that you can have success. I will take you out into bars, into clubs, into malls, and show you how to approach women. I will point out the mistakes you're making and help you fix them. And by the end of the weekend, you will come home with multiple girls' numbers. You'll probably have gone on multiple dates, and there's a very good chance you'll even bring a girl home with you. But regardless of what exact results you'll get, I will be able to prove to you that you are able to have success even with beautiful women. So that was part one of this video. I'm going to break it up because it's already like 20, 25 minutes. In the next video, I'm going to talk about 2 other secrets about women that society does not want you to know about. They're pretty dark, but it's very important for you to be aware of them because your ability to have healthy relationships with women depends on your understanding of these two things. So if you want to see that video, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button, and feel free to leave in the comment what you think those two secrets might be. What is your best guess as to the secrets I haven't told you? And if you're really serious about getting good at picking up women fast, then click the link below to sign up for a free 15-minute call with me so I can give you some guidance about how to get your dating life handled, and you can find out if a boot camp is right for you.